Welcome
Welcome to
to
Shade
Shade
and the
in the
City.
City.
I'm your girl Treese.
It's Nels.
And today, y'all, we are here to get into none other than 90 Day Fiancé season 11, episode 6. Don't get me
Love
lying.
me or leave me.
Love me or leave me. Thank you, Nell. She is on the job for a little while
Did you
longer.
notice? Did you notice? Did you notice that's really all I get? I don't ever get what episode it is. I'd be like, I know she got that. I get the name.
No, I just thought you was trying to get your gold star before you took your vacation time. And
Nope. Nope. Surely not. Surely not.
But yeah, y'all, we appreciate you being here. If you haven't already, please make sure you hit that like button for us.
And that subscribe button.
And y'all, let's jump right into it and let's get shady. Sarper, he's complaining that Shekinah doesn't, the fact that she doesn't have a bidet. He feels like that's a necessity and that should be in everyone's home. He doesn't understand why that's, not a thing. So he says that, Shekinah acts like a dictator with all her rules of what he can and can't do. So he's not really feeling it. And, he does admit he was expecting her apartment to be a little bit bigger. And, Shekinah explains that because she's been in Turkey for so long, she does need to see her clients so she can get back to work. And so, she tells production, okay, well, now I realize now that he's here that this apartment may be a little bit too small for a couple and a dog and 2 dogs. Okay. So Sarper says he wishes Shekinah would have communicated all her rules before he got there. And he basically thinks that this is a red flag, but he decides he's going to move on and make the best of it.
I love that he said it was a red flag.
I know. Sarper. I told you it is very fun because I still don't see it for Shekinah. And we're going to get into it, y'all. But I'm really when Sarper is just being his, goofy self, I can enjoy Sarper when he's not putting 20 on 10. So he surprises her the next day with a swimsuit. He wants to go to the beach so he can live out his Baywatch dreams. He feels like Baywatch inspired him to catch the 2,500 bodies that he caught. Okay. So Sarper asked if it'd be a problem.
I'm not sure that's how he worded that.
But that's what he said. That's what he said.
Oh, okay. All right.
That's what he meant. Now Sarper, I don't know if anybody else saw this. First of all, if y'all been here for a while, Shade Squad, I don't never want to age shame, but I always say you can get a lot of things done, but what you can't get done is your hands and neck. And Shekinah, when she was on that beach, as tight as her face and her skin was pulled back, that neck was given pushing 60, but the face was given pulled back to 30. And no, it was awful. And Shekinah, if you're gonna do the work on the neck too.
Can you get work done on your neck? They got to be able to do a lift. Maybe they lift it together and I
don't know, but she needs to get that because it's only so visible because her face, the skin on her face is pulled back so tight. So when you see her skin all wrinkled up and then in her neck, it's like, oh my God, it's very noticeable.
I didn't notice it.
Oh, I did. Okay.
Well, you be looking for that stuff.
I be looking for the hands and the neck. You know what I'm saying? So, basically he is asking her, hey, would it be a problem if I go to the beach since I got to get out while you working anyway? And she's like, well, why don't you just explore the neighborhood first? I don't really know how I feel about you going to the beach. And, she's like, we need to build trust. And so, she's like, and your past decisions have affected our current relationship. And so Sarper's like, look, I'm trying to bear with her and I'm going to play along. But if things stay like this, this ain't gonna be doable. I can't nobody live like this. If I gotta be out the house, but yet now you controlling where I go and how far I can go, and that ain't gonna last long. Sarper's not. But I did love when he was like, what did he say? He said welcome, or he said welcome beaches or something like that. And she was like,
she was like, no, you're saying the other B word.
Right.
As much as he kept on trying to say it, it wasn't coming.
Right. It was cute. I thought that was funny. But yeah, that was Shekinah and Sarper this episode. Anything to add about them?
Nope.
All right. Let's move on to your favorite, Mark and Mina.
And Mark. So
I'm gonna need Mina to do something with her wig too.
So Jordan, Mark's daughter, goes over to him and says, they need to talk. Mark asked, her boyfriend Gabe to watch Maria, and she says, her mama can do it. Like it ain't her little sister. That girl need to be slapped. So she lets him know that Mina said that she didn't want her at the wedding. And if that's how it's going to be, then she don't want to be there anyway. Then she said that she got upset.
She was just super disrespectful. Like, she was really just overstepping her boundaries. Like, oh, well, no, let her mama get, like, it was so funny because she was like, I feel like I'm outside the family, but no shade. You're treating your Black sibling like she's not a part of your family. Just even the way that you referred to her.
I didn't want to say it like that because Gabe is clearly biracial.
Right.
But it's something. It's something. So she tells him that Mina got upset because she expressed that she didn't want them to have any more kids, and she wouldn't be okay with that. And she says, if you're going to disregard how I feel, then maybe I shouldn't come anyway. No, but I hear you. But I'm gonna live my own damn life and do what the hell I want to do.
Right, that part.
Regarding your feelings means doing what you want me to.
Right, that's what I didn't understand. And she was like, because then even when Jordan
I'm not telling you what to do. Yes, you are.
What was it when even when Gabe was like, what's going on? And like they were leaving, and she's like, she doesn't want me at the wedding, and because she was like, because she thinks I don't agree, and she was like, and I don't. So we're clear here on, so I don't understand why, like, I don't know. She has a lot of audacity for me.
See, Mina's not the villain. She's not.
No, Mina is not the villain. Mina is not the villain. And that's how they tried to paint it when they first, but no, that Mina's not the villain. That little girl, because I even like when her father had to check her and said, all right, hold on. I feel like now you judging me, you criticize, you know what I'm saying? I was here for it.
Yeah. So he told her that he felt bad telling Mina all the things that she said, and he needs to work on shutting his mouth. And she was like, yeah, because how am I supposed to come to you about red flags if you telling her? So he was like, yeah, that didn't go well. And she's like, okay, well, maybe that's a sign that you shouldn't get married. And tells him there's
I'm glad you got this part, because I just would have been cussing Jordan now. I wouldn't even got the tit for tat.
You so silly. So then she tells him that you're just brushing over a lot of the red flags. Mina is over there emotional, and she's talking about how, if she doesn't accept her, then she shouldn't be at her wedding. And, she said that she lost her family, her son, to come here for peace, and it's only problems. Mark told Jordan that she's coming to the wedding. And, if she has a big problem, then maybe, he won't get married. Then she starts talking about how strange it is that she's so young and she wants to be with him, basically. And he told her, yeah, okay, you judging me now. Okay, I just want to be happy. Right. I wasn't happy when I went through the divorce with your mom. And, I found somebody I'm in love with. And then she talks about how she would be comfortable if he was with someone his own age and that lived in the US. So he was like, okay, so you want me to break up with her, not get married, and then find somebody 45 or 50?
And the fact that she was just like, yeah, like she was willing to be like, yeah, just kick her to the curb, kick the little girl to the curb. That was, I ain't even gonna hold you. That shit was so disgusting to me. I was like, I'm sorry, y'all. You will never probably ever hear me say a good word about Jordan ever if she comes across my screen.
She was like, I mean, you really can't fix anything because, you know, you already got a baby, but just don't have any more. So he said, okay, you're trying to dictate
Do
my
you
happiness.
understand how disrespectful that is?
And imagine, see, this is what
And
I'm
not
saying.
even that. So basically, you're saying, I'm mad that you had this one. So you're letting us know how you feel about Maria.
Mhm.
Don't have any more. Yo, I swear on everything. Couldn't have been my child. We
So
would have.
imagine. I mean, I don't know if she really had conversation like this with Mina, but imagine the things that Mark told that we didn't see, told Mina
Right.
that this girl said. So
We would be
you know,
knucking and bucking.
she basically says you can do what you want. I'm just telling you how it makes me feel. That's not what it's giving.
Mm-mm.
And then she goes, and maybe because of it, I might be around less. Please do, because you're annoying. So Mark said if Mina doesn't support her, I'm sorry, Mina said if Mark doesn't support her, she may be just going back to Paris. Okay. She said she can't be in a relationship with someone who doesn't accept her. And Jordan told her that told him after being uninvited to the wedding, it's time for her to go because this is real awkward. So Mark went and asked, Mina what happened. And she said she doesn't accept me. I came here for you. I didn't come here for your family. And,
Right.
that I was coming here for your money. So Mark said that he got mad at her too because she was being super judgmental. And Mina said that she doesn't like me and I don't think she needs to be at my wedding. And then he said, I started this, but y'all need to fix it. Sir, what? He
That's what I
said,
was confused about.
like, what? You started this and you need to, okay. So he
Right.
said that he feels bad for, everything that she's going through right now with Jordan, especially having to deal with the situation with her son. And also says that they can't get along. At the end of the day, that is his daughter and they may not be able to get married. And Mina tells him, look, come tomorrow. I need to go back to New Hampshire. Okay. So he tells her, look, just give it another try. Just wait till tomorrow. And she said, I'm through trying. Okay. I've tried and tried all I can try. I ain't trying no more.
All right. So then let's move on to the throuple of it all. Okay. Um, is Amani, Matt, and Annie. The throuple that don't know how to be a throuple. Okay. So Amani wakes up, she's still upset about Matt and Annie having sex without her knowing about it. Matt is just so confused on what the hell he did wrong because he said, I thought this is what we were signing up for. So Annie says that she feels bad because she was the one that initiated the sex with Matt. So she just is guilty. And then this is how you know she just likes her more because she's just like, well, no, but it's the fact that you told the truth. And I guess it's because we're women. No, he could have told you, but he probably didn't tell you because clearly you wasn't going to like it. And he didn't feel the need to tell you because he doesn't understand what he did wrong.
And because they originally said no rules, no boundaries. So why would I tell you something that I don't feel is important to tell?
I don't know. Beats me, beats me. They go for a little picnic or whatever, but basically, Monty thinks it's good that they're communicating. But the only one who seems to be getting anything without getting shamed is Annie, is what my notes say. Annie admits that we have our own issues before you got here, and so adding another partner doesn't make
You
that
mean
easier.
Amani?
Oh yeah, Amani. But anyway, she said that they had issues before they brought Annie into it. And my whole thing is, so how you thought by adding another person this would make this better?
Like a baby. People have a messed up relationship. They think adding a baby is gonna help.
Well, you better tell them something. So then we see them all cuddled up and well, this is what's crazy. It's actually Annie and Matt that are all cuddled up. Which I was like, didn't y'all just get in trouble for this shit? So
Girl,
Matt
I'm
and
telling you, they're in a relationship, and Amani is the third piece.
clearly. So Matt, like I said, okay, so they cuddled up. Matt brings up that they go on a picnic and he brings up about rules and guidelines. And he said she doesn't ever want to go to bed angry after a fight. Matt wants a chance to be heard, and Amani says that basically she wants them to ask her permission before they have sex.
And see, I thought you just wanted communication. Now you want permission. So now we got to wake you up next time.
No, she wants control. That's what that is. She wants control. That's what that be. But right. Yes, let's get into what was it, Shawn and Alliya?
Shawn and Alliya. Ooh, Shawn.
So can I just tell you, Shawn is a butthole. You know what? I kind of felt it from the hair, and but it gives me, yeah, he's a butthole.
Shawn is giving butthole, but I mean,
no, we already said it. I felt bad because I can see both sides of the situation.
I can see both sides too. He just shouldn't have, gone through this whole process and brought her over here.
Right.
How he felt.
Because I really don't. I don't know why, but every scene that they interacted, it seemed very forced. It seemed like he absolutely was not interested.
He even said last time, they were intimate. It wasn't given.
Yeah, that's what it wasn't. What it was hidden for.
It seems like he's not really attracted to her any longer. Anyway, so Alliya is on the plane on her way there while he's cleaning. He said because she's very particular about her cleanliness. He thought it was just because she's a nurse, but he said no, she's got an actual condition called germophobia. I should have Googled that. I wonder if that's real. He said it's to the point that, he would take a shower in the afternoon. But if he doesn't take one before bed, she feels like his feet ain't clean and he got to lay on top of the covers so he doesn't contaminate the sheets. I said, well, damn. Okay. So he said, even if he was walking around in socks. So she's traveling. She's been traveling for 8 hours from Brazil to Panama. And now she has to wait 13 hours before she gets on her next flight to LA. She said it's too much. Okay.
Look, I was sitting there. I was like, and he didn't book you a hotel. You just sat in the airport. I was sitting there like, and he got you
13 hours.
Look, I was like, and he got you a flight here. That should have been the first sign.
13 hours, you can go do some things.
Right. I would have been out and about. Where I forgot where the stop was, or she
it was in Panama City. Panama City.
I wouldn't have been in no airport, I can tell you that.
Mm-hmm. And that's a tiny little airport. Ain't much to do in there.
Right.
So he's headed to the airport. He's super excited to see his girl because he said he knew he couldn't do the damn long distance. Okay. But he does have a fear that since he's the only one that knew Douglas, that she may feel like he's holding her back from living her full Alliya lifestyle here in the U.S. So that's you. He's also fearful that he could be, that it could go sideways because now it's real. But he said, but now it's real, now it's happening. And they have to see, how the persona of Alliya plays into their relationship. So they were excited to see each other. She was a little nervous about, the dog licking her face. And I completely understand that.
Especially if she's a germaphobe like that.
But I was saying, I don't think you got to be a germaphobe for that. Like, that's just
nasty. Oh, you're so funny.
It is nasty. He said they've been dating for 4 years, but in reality, he's only spent one time with Alliya, being Alliya full time. And that was just recently in Brazil. So he said basically this is like a new relationship for him. So on the ride home, he's showing her, where all these celebrities lived. And she said from the slums to Beverly Hills. I said, okay. Then she gets to his house and she said it looks like medieval. She said she is in another time right now. He said he has an eclectic style. And
I love when she was like, it's just so many things.
Yes. And then apparently he has a thing for dinosaurs. And it's hilarious. He showed her this dress that who was it? Cher, that Cher wore. It says she. That Cher wore. She was like, oh, can I use it? He was like, I don't think so.
Right.
And what aggravated me, so she's supposed to be OCD or whatever. and don't want dirty socks or dirty feet on the bed. She didn't want to get on the bed because she said that she was super dirty, but she put her nasty ass suitcase on the bed.
Well,
Just
that part.
all through the damn airport. I said, ma'am, you know how many people touch that? Thing was on a conveyor. That was all in the elements. And you talking about you being dirty, you put your nasty ass suitcase on the bed. Germs. So then
Well,
they take the party outside to the patio. And he said, I'm ready to get a little more comfortable. I want to put on some pajamas, cuddle, and see where the night takes us. But he let her know that I did do my testing, okay, and I'm clean as a whistle. And I'll let I'll let you see it. And apparently they were in an open relationship from the very beginning. This is what he wanted, not her. He
and
decided.
clearly he's getting everything that he wants.
Mm-hmm. You know, what's the saying? The man that makes the goal makes the rules. That's probably how he sees it. Apparently, he felt like it was best for their long distance relationship. And so she asked him, she was like, okay, so now that I'm here, are we gonna continue this open relationship? And he said, well, you just got here, so I think that's something that we need to discuss, but not tonight. And of course, this upset her. She
Right.
said she didn't like it, and it makes her question how much he accepts her as Aliyah. He doesn't, child.
He
And
doesn't. And that's the sad part.
And she told him that she's not having any relations with anyone. And his response was just, all right. I thought, oh.
And can I just say, and I hate to say this, but now I absolutely see, and I see why TLC did what they did, because now you absolutely see why she walked away from marrying this man. Like they're showing the treatment, and I absolutely, and like everything I wouldn't have done it either. I wouldn't have done it either. And I'm happy that they kind of did it like that.
Yeah. So in the confessional, he says as much as he loves Aliyah, he didn't sign up to be in a relationship with a woman, and said, if she's fully going to be a woman, then he knows he's going to be missing the company of being with a man. So the next morning, Aliyah is aggravated because this damn dog done woke them up out their sleep. And she said, that baby need to sleep some more. Okay. He said last night he ended up just kind of crashing out with his clothes on before she even made it out the bathroom. He said initially, when they come together, they're pretty distant in the beginning, and then it just gets easier. So he let her know that they were going to go hiking that day. And she said, this is the first day here. Why are we going hiking and not shopping?
Right. I don't know why I thought of you. And it was like, why are we doing that?
You didn't hear me? I said, and I felt her.
Right.
Why is that even on the itinerary for real? Then they get to walking, and then they got this little dog just shitting everywhere. She said, look, I don't give a damn as long as he the one cleaning it up. He said, well, you the mama now, so I'm expecting you to do some work. She said, don't dream so much. I said, you better. So she said, all her family.
She said picking up your dog is wifey duties, and I am not a wife.
No, it's not wifey duties.
Oh, excuse me.
Not at all. That's not wifely duties at all. That's nasty shit. Men handle nasty shit. You take care of the nasty shit. My job is to wipe babies' asses, not clean up hot shit from a dog's ass.
Not okay. All right.
That's nasty. Trace,
Well, yeah, you're bad for the planet and Earth and everything.
It's fertilizer, boo.
You stupid.
So she lets him know, all my family knows, that I'm here and I'm getting married. And wanted to know, if his people knows. He said, well, my mom and my friends know, but not the kids or anybody else. And she asked if it had anything to do with him being embarrassed of her. And he said it doesn't, he said no, it doesn't have anything to do with that. He just doesn't want to hear anybody's comments. And he told her, if it wasn't for the circumstances and how things have to happen in order to come to this country, yes, they wouldn't be getting married, because he's been there, done that, and it ain't that serious for him to do it again. Aliyah
said, when he said that, I said, damn.
Aliyah said, process or not, that's something that she's always wanted. It's a dream for her. And really, he said it's just because he's being cautious, because he's been married before and it didn't work out. Bye, nigga, bye, boy, bye.
And it doesn't surprise me that it didn't work out. But yeah. Let's move on to Stevi and Madhi. Okay. Madhi is he just came from getting a really bad, I guess, shape up, haircut. They was fixing him up. And
Of course,
he's a little
it's because
upset.
it's because he in that little hick town, and he need to be where some brown folks are, and know how
Yeah.
to, because I can see it. I can see that he can get cut up real nice. I see it. I see the potential.
You stupid. I did too. So he's feeling a little self-conscious. They go home so she can try to draw on his mustache, and he tells her, well, he trusts her to draw something since she can draw boobs everywhere. So they decide to go into town and go to the coffee shop, and then Stevi brings up mentioning to, I guess, Wendy, which I assume is her daddy's wife, I think, or somebody in her family. I don't know, but it was
Oh,
a family.
Wendy is the one the Wendy, the chick that she told before. I don't know where she fits in. I think maybe it is the dad's wife or dad something.
Oh, okay. But she brought up her telling Wendy that he was thinking about possibly, or he had questioned wanting to go back home, and he feels like, well, damn, I was just sharing with you. We were having, it was conversation. You asked me a question and I answered. And so, Marty tells her honestly that he misses his parents more now than he did on the first day. And he said, but that's not going to change. And Stevie's concerned that he might up and decide to leave her. And he's like, well, if we broke up, he says he wouldn't stay, even though he used to think differently and think that he would stay. So now Stevie is questioning his motives and the fact that he has so many doubts about if they'll work out. And so
Or
Marty,
also, he was questioning the fact that he planned to stay even if they broke up, and questioning the fact that he's even thinking that they could break up. Girl, it's a possibility.
right. And that's what Marty was saying. He was like, shit happens.
Yeah.
Basically, like in relationships, like we can say we love each other and we'll never live, but that like reality happens, okay? So
Mm-hmm.
anyway, Marty now starts to feel like he can't even be honest with his thoughts. Stevie tries to explain she never thought about them not working out, and she tells him she doesn't want to get married unless it's forever. So he doesn't want to, he's like, look, at this point, I just won't share anything else with you because clearly my thoughts are affecting the relationship. So I'll just keep it to myself. And and he feels like she's basically being unreasonable. And he's like, I need a supportive wife, and right now that doesn't feel like Stevie.
Well, mm, mm.
Now let's get into your other favorite.
Greg and Joan.
Look, Joan said she done already picked up a few pounds messing with
And
Lucille.
you can see it, girl. She's giving Thickiana.
Not
I
Thickiana.
said, oh, I said, I see you, Joan, because when you first got there, you was a
Yeah, she was thin.
little stick a little bit. So yeah, Greg took Joan on a date to go walk on the boardwalk. She's excited just to be out the house and away from his mama child. And
Okay.
for
She
to
was
have some.
like, I'm just happy to be away with you. I was like, poor baby.
So they decided to walk the dogs, and I thought it was funny. It was Joan's first time ever walking a dog. He asked her how she slept the night before, and she said she was a little nervous. He was trying to get some, and she said, you ain't getting nada, okay? I'm worried about your mama hearing. So then she asked, when we gonna get our own place? This man said maybe a year and a half to 2 years. And she was like, I love how she said, we gonna live in your mommy's house that
Right.
long? I thought it was gonna be like 6 months. And she said, had she known this, she would have reconsidered her decision to come. He said that he doesn't want to waste all this money on an apartment, and he'd rather save up and put down a down payment. What were you? I mean, you had time to do that.
Yeah, you did.
Um,
And you didn't.
But then he starts talking about the expenses that he's had and how the turbo on his car blew and he's in debt for $8,000, the visa, the lawyer, the flights, all these things. But sir, if you had your job and you had accepted it, I don't think it'd be hitting you this hard.
Right. If you
Um,
exactly.
she said that she knew about the debt, but she didn't know it was for no 8K. And she was like, I thought people living in America was stable. Boy, was I wrong.
Okay, because
So,
that's
so
not what
she
he's
asked him,
giving.
she said, well, how you even gonna pay for the wedding? He was like, well, I mean, I guess it's all on me. But things are cheaper in Uganda for $5,000. You can get everything here. That ain't gonna cut it. And then he was like, well, I was thinking, maybe we can just make the food ourselves for everybody. You want the bride to cook the food?
Look, he want the bride, and then he probably thought he was just gonna come out here and make a whole bunch. Well, he did say I could see his family making a whole bunch of Italian dishes, and
Well, no, I can see the family. I can see the family, but you volunteering me to make the
oh
food
yeah,
for my
that's not cute. Yeah,
yeah. So then she was like, yeah, okay. Well, I don't want to spend a lot on the wedding, but I do want a nice dress. I don't want nothing ugly. Okay, because this is a once in a lifetime thing. He was like, well, maybe we can make a budget for that. Like $500 or $600 for a wedding dress. Where them little ugly $100 David bridal dresses?
I was gonna say that's what it's giving.
She already told you she want a nice dress, sir. $500 or $600 ain't gonna do it.
It
But
might. Maybe she might rent the runway or something.
I wonder if I mean, because I know a lot of places, like I would assume, like where she's from though, that like she can, ask somebody, get somebody to make it for her, order it,
Probably.
and it might be maybe cheaper and fit in their budget. Well, anyways, he told her that
But
he
then
has some job.
I wonder how much the shipping would be to get it here.
I mean, it's still got to be less than what you pay for a dress here.
Facts. That's probably true.
Yeah. So he told her that he has some interviews coming up. And even though, it may be long hours, just knowing that he's coming home to her embrace puts him at ease. Sir, I'm still mad he didn't accept that state job. You should have thought about these things. Thought about these things before I came.
Right.
Okay. And she said she's feeling like she rushed into this decision. Okay. She said if things don't change, she is taking her ass back to Uganda. Okay. So Greg is taking Joan to meet his two friends, John and John. They're both talking about how much weight they put on, and yes, she's giving Thickiana. But never mind. So on the ride over there, she's asking him, how many Johns do you know? Then he starts going into how many he know. He said like 7 or 8. He said it's a common name. Okay. So his friends asked her how she's liking it there. And she was like, it's different and it's clean. Girl, that's the part of New York you in.
Right. Okay.
So then John is going into the history about knowing Greg, and it's giving they must have been some bored ass kids because they were lawn forking. And I was like, what is that? Apparently it's placing plastic forks all over somebody's lawn. They had too much time on their hands.
That's what it sounds like.
And in a confessional, he goes into talking about how Greg uses humor as a deflection for his internal issues, and said, at the end of the day, he's 35 living with his mama. I said, well, okay, John, you probably shouldn't have did all of that on camera.
Right.
Because I don't think Greg gonna like that too much when he watch it back.
He's gonna be like, damn, why you had to play me out like that?
Right. Then they asked how it was living with Lucille, and want to know how long she wants to stay there. She said, I wanted to stay 3 months. So they asked Greg, well, how you going to accomplish this, sir? He's like, I'm just ready to jump off this dock. Okay. But he said, they're pushing towards it, but it's going to take time because he doesn't want to rent.
You need to do it. My thing is, I'm all for people. Like, I get when you're in an apartment and or if you're staying somewhere and like you're younger, you ain't married, like you just got a good job for real. You still in your early, 20s, 30s. Like, I get that. But at this point, we got to start somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
You need to, the first step is getting outside your mama's house.
Exactly. Oh, if she wasn't there, he probably would have no plans on going. So then he said, that he wants to open up his bakery. And John said, well, I don't know what type of funds you have in reserve. I said, what? And he said, I know you have this dream of a bakery, but is it worth, you know, spending that money on a bakery or on housing? And he said, you're not some trust fund hipster whose parents have unlimited funds to finance your dreams.
Right.
And told him
You're
he needs
telling
a
him to
steady
wake up.
source. He said you need a steady source of income while his girl is over there. Yep, sure
Yep.
do. Okay.
That's right.
And of course, his immature ass just don't want to hear none of it. So John asked, what is his end game? And Greg said, family. Joan said she's willing to give him 2 kids. She said, but he can't save. Okay. He needs the budget. And, I got land in Uganda, and this man got me living in his mama's house. And
I wouldn't.
apparently, both of the Johns understand. It's just Greg that doesn't. So John asked, what's his next step? And Greg said, he has to figure something out to support them until she's able to work, because right now everything's on him. Not really, because your mama the one paying all the bills.
That
So
part.
John said that he's worried things ain't gonna work out, and Joan is gonna kick his ass to the curb. That's definitely what it's giving.
Now,
Sir,
here's my thing. I just feel like, one, he needs to do better. She's here. We need to see more of a you did all this crying and, oh, I know how serious it is and I need to get it together. And I just feel like I'm not seeing that level of, I still feel like he's playing. So to your point, I think it is probably going to take her, unfortunately, her probably upping and leaving him before he finally decides to do it on his own, or threatening to before he decides to do it on his own. Because I don't know if you saw the preview for that next episode where she was like, it's not all American. She was like, it's him.
mm-hmm. Oh, because he said something about we can't afford something. Americans can't afford something like that. She said, no, it's not everybody. It's just you.
It's just you. That part.
I said, oh, she's quick.
She
Quick, quick, quick.
quick with it.
I said,
But yeah, y'all. So y'all,
quiet and sweet girl.
what'd you say?
I said, we thought you was quiet and sweet.
I was gonna say you gotta watch out for the quiet one.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, y'all. So y'all drop down in the comments. Let us know what you thought about this episode of the 90-Day Fiancé. If you have not already, please make sure that you guys hit that like button for us.
Make sure you comment.
Make sure that you guys are subscribed.
And you hit the notification bell.
And make sure you're following us on all the platforms. That's the Blue Sky, the TikTok, the IG, and the Facebook, y'all. And yeah, we will catch you next week to update you on all of this foolishness that it happens in the 90 days. Y'all have a good night. Enjoy the rest of your week. Bye-bye.
Good night.